Howdy. Ann, I love Ann Kramer. I'm really excited to be here. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a school teacher. I still teach school. I taught my 5th graders this morning, and I came here, and when I go back, I have 7th and 8th graders in after school, and I love it, but our school is really a different, innovative type of place because what we do is we encourage our teachers to teach with passion, innovation, creativity, to really go for it and to be different and to take chances. And then we invite educators from all over Georgia, all around the country, and around the world to come sit in our classrooms, to watch, to observe, to learn from our methods and techniques, and then to take our ideas back to their classrooms wherever they go. We've had thousands and thousands of superintendents, principals, and educators from right here in Georgia come to our school for professional development training. It's incredible because one problem we have in our country in terms of training educators is that for 4 years they go to college. They sit in a classroom and someone tells them how to teach. And then what happens, they'll do a 10-week, student teaching or whatnot, where they watch one teacher. Then for 30 years, educators will go into a classroom and teach for 30 years. They don't get out to see other examples of excellence. They don't see what other educators are doing. When I taught in North Carolina for 5 years, I was just in my classroom teaching. I had no idea what anyone else was doing. No one gets out to see other people. When you don't see other people, you don't see other examples of excellence. When you're a surgeon, you don't just go try and figure out how to do surgery on your own. You watch other surgeons. You learn from the best. Educators, however, don't. And so what we wanted to do is to build a dynamic, creative, innovative place where we could bring educators to have them in that environment to see excellence and then to have something to shoot for. And that's what we have at the Ron Clark Academy. Now, what do we show them? What we show them are some things I learned when I first started teaching. The very first thing when I first walked into a classroom I saw is that the kids were bored. There was no passion. There was no energy. And I wanted to find a way to fire it up, y'all. Come on. You only live once. I looked out at the kids and they were like, what? There was no energy. And so number one, I wanted to find a way to put some life in education. If our kids don't love coming to school, if they aren't excited each day to get up and say, let's go see what's going to happen today, and not only for 3rd graders, for 8th graders, and for 12th graders too, if they aren't excited to go experience and to learn, they're not going to become lifelong learners. So number one, I wanted to put some passion in the classes. Number two, I looked at my students. I had some gifted kids, Ann's in the gifted kids. I had some average, I had some low, and I had some low kids. And I said, how do you teach all these kids at the same time? And you know what I was told? They said, shoot to the middle. Teach to the middle, hit them all the best you can. So that's what I try to do. And that's what they do all over the country. And so I went in there and I tried to do it, and I realized that these low kids had something to try for. I was hitting these kids right where they needed to be. These kids were bored. They were kicked back. Trying a little bit, but making straight A's. They weren't having to study much, but everyone was praising them, buddy. Let me tell you, they were getting certificates and honor roll, but they weren't really working very hard. So our gifted kids in our country, they're kind of coasting through the education system, and they're always praised for not really working hard. They're not developing a work ethic. Then you get 20-something-year-old graduates from college in your businesses, and you expect them to come in and to be outstanding, and they're kind of lazy. They don't have a work ethic. They don't understand the drive. They don't have that determination. They've never really had to work very hard. So it's a problem. And so I wanted to find a way to flip things around in our country. I wanted to say, what if I teach to my brightest kid every day? What if every day I'm challenging Ann, and she's challenged? And then what if I hold every kid in the class up to her standard? How would that be different? Because right now in our country, we teach and we dumb it down. All of our major initiatives, Title I, Stimulus Plan, No Child Left Behind, everything in our country is geared toward right here, focusing on kids who aren't achieving. When you look at Finland, China, Russia, India, all their major initiatives, you go to here. They push their brightest. Where will those countries be in 20 years? Where will China be, or where are they already about to be when they're pushing their brightest, and where we're going to be when we're putting all of our money here? And so my problem is when I teach y'all, my heart, I'm led there. That's where I want to go. That's where I want to work with. But I didn't want to help those kids and do a disservice to our gifted kids at the same time. So I said, I'm going to teach to the top and see how this is going to work. And what I found is that by having high expectations, the more you expect, the harder kids are going to work. Now, when I first walk in my class and I have really hard expectations, they freak out. All right, I ain't going to lie. And these kids freak out too. But what I found is that kids are resilient. They will always adjust, and they'll always try to get to that level as long as you have the passion, the excitement, and you're making it hands-on and you're bringing it to life. When I first started teaching here in Atlanta, my first group of fifth graders, they were only averaging better than 39% of the nation in math. And I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to teach to the top. I'm going to teach these kids 8th grade algebra. And my staff members, they're all national award-winning teachers from around the country. They said, Ron, you can't teach 5th graders who aren't on grade level 8th grade algebra. I said, you know what? The more you expect, the more you're going to get. I'm going to do it. And so I went in there teaching 8th grade algebra, and it did not work because I skipped too much stuff. I skipped too much. And so I have a personal philosophy. We have this philosophy at the Ron Clark Academy, and I think every company should have it. If you have a goal and you set that goal, never drop it. There is always a way for us to get there, to achieve what we want to achieve. There's always a way to meet that level, to meet that expectation. We might have to change our methods, change our techniques, change our strategies, but we can always get there. Don't drop your goal. You just have to figure out a way to get there. And so my first step is I got to figure out a way to get these 5th graders to love my classroom. And so at the time, this song was really popular by Rihanna called Umbrella. And I said, I'm going to teach them how to do the order of operations through this song. So we all held hands. We were like, when we begin together, parentheses, first now please be clever. Exponents come right next in line. Gonna multiply and divide at the same time. Now subtraction and addition, walk it out with computation. It's the order of operations. It's the order of operations. Asians, A plus. And the kids loved it. They're like, oh, Mr. Clark, we love algebra class. We love algebra. And I don't think they really loved algebra, but they loved that song so much. And they came in every day. Oh, Mr. Clark, can we sing the song? Can we sing the song? And so they started to love it. And then some days, because the algebra was hard, y'all, they would come walking in and they weren't excited. So I got balloons. And I blew these balloons up, and had a balloon on every desk with a magic marker. And the kids came in. They said, Mr. Clark, what do we do with the balloons? I said, you got 2 minutes to do this problem, and you got to do it on the balloon. And if you get it right, you can pop the balloon. Kids went crazy, balloons flying everywhere. They were so excited. Only 2 kids got it right. And they got to pop their balloon. Something about popping a balloon, kids love that. And so the other kids said, we can't pop our balloons. I said, no. I said, but maybe tomorrow you can. They came running in. Wanted to get those balloons working hard. It was great. Half the kids popped it. The next day, almost every kid could pop it. They loved it. But then things get old quick with kids. So the next day they came in, I had chalk. And they said, Mr. Clark, where are the balloons? I said, you got 2 minutes, hurry up. They said, well, where's the balloons? I said, your problems today are outside on the sidewalk. The kids had to run outside with the chalk and do the problem on the sidewalk. They loved it. That's what education needs to be. You don't have to do stuff like that every second because sometimes it's really hard and you got to focus with kids, but you got to have a spark. You got to have some excitement once in a while so that those kids will be really willing to get to that high level. And you got to lift kids up. If you got a goal that's here and buddy, you down here, you better cheer here, cheer here. You got to lift each other up. I know you're all leaders in this room. I know you know about lifting people up, and the more you can lift them up, the better. But you know what's even more awesome? If you can get them to lift each other up. I tell my staff, I say, you know what? The number one thing I value in the staff members of this school more than anything else is when I see you lifting each other up. When I see you patting each other on the back, clapping for each other, cheering for each other, man, that makes me proud of you. So they started doing it more and more and more. The more they cheer for each other, the better. And so what happened is I found out, what if I get these kids to cheer for each other? What if I get them to support each other? Things are going to be even better. And so, for example, let's say that Frank does something right. I say, oh my gosh, y'all, Frank got it right. Is Frank on? And the whole class will go, wipe him down. It's awesome. Don't y'all know the song? Is I'm on, wipe me down, is I'm. Okay, but you got to do it. All right, I want everybody to do this. I'm going to say, is Frank on? And you all go, wipe him down. Come on, Georgia, let's do it. Is Frank on? Wipe him down. Y'all got a D minus. Try better. Is Frank on? Wipe him down. Some of you still didn't do it. I don't understand that, but that's all right. That's on you. All right, but the thing is, and so what happened was these kids started cheering for each other, and I'd say to Brad, and they'd go, get it. These kids started lifting each other up, and you know, it's all about when you create that type of environment, everyone's going to be successful. At the end of the year, they outscored 86% of the nation. When those kids graduated, their math scores were over the 90th percentile for the nation. Those kids got over $1.4 million in scholarships to go to high schools, Westminster, Lubbock, Pace, and boarding schools all over the country. And you know what's great about that? My gifted kids got the scholarships. The average kids did, and the kids that came to the Ron Clark Academy who had learning disabilities or weren't achieving, they got scholarships too. It's all about teaching to the top. But then we can't just sit back as educators and leaders in our profession. We got to find ways to fire these kids up to get them to that level. The third thing I focus on is manners. My grandma raised me, y'all. She wasn't playing. She was all about how you treat people is who you are. She taught me how to have manners, respect, and dignity. I put that in my classroom as well. I had 55 rules. I taught my kids about how to be a good person, how to be respectful. I did that in North Carolina for 5 years. Test scores were through the roof, a lot of success. Then I saw a TV show that showed schools in Harlem and New York City that have violence in overcrowded classrooms. And I got a feeling in my heart, and I said, I'm going to go up there and teach in Harlem. My mama said, they kill people in Harlem. I said, I'm going. And so I went up to Harlem, and I found one of the schools from the TV show, and that's where I started working. Same three things: passion, high expectations, and manners. First year, test scores were through the roof. Next year, through the roof. The next year, the program spread all over New York City public school system. It was outstanding. It was a great success. I was named as the American Teacher of the Year.